Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's whatever this is, guys on tech. I am Eagle Falcon. We got a lot to talk about today. I thought the Artesian Builds story was gonna end with pretty much where it did last week. A company went and changed the rules at the last minute of a giveaway. You technically can't do that. No one would pursue them legally. And everyone would just shun the builders, and that would it. They would vanish into obscurity. I was very wrong. Very, very wrong in that regards. And there's a lot more. Of course, there was also an Apple event. Apple apparently doesn't know what the word max means, what the word maximum means. Apparently, Apple has been watching way too much anime, talking about going beyond your limits. Because here's where we are with them. Let's first open up with Artesian Builds. All right. So, for those who are not caught up with this story, here's what happened. Artesian Builds is a PC building company that builds very basic sort of builds for the average people, but also makes very exotic builds for influencers. But the thing is that they stream all of their builds on Twitch. In the past, a couple years ago, they have worked with bigger name streamers. Recently, to try and promote their brand, they have tried to open up an ambassador program. I actually personally was invited to said program, but when they tried to go ahead and give the normal spiel of, oh man, we really like what you're doing, it's just like, what do I do? And they couldn't answer it correctly. So I turned them down. The other part of it is that the ambassador program is basically just one giant banner that's put down, and you get paid based on people who click on them. And that's supposed to be it. By having that on there, you were able to take part in giveaways. But last week, they decided to, well, not last week, the week before, whenever it was, they decided to change the rules of the giveaway at the very last minute. Which, by the way, is in direct violation with pretty much every single state's and almost every country's laws about giveaways and sweepstakes. The internet community as a whole came together, condemned what Artesian Builds did. Other people are trying to say, like, oh man, the way they went ahead and this streamer, I actually don't have her name written down. The way she was like brought down to size, because what they did is that this small streamer supposedly won this big $2,000 build, but their metrics weren't high enough, and then re-rolled the giveaway, which in both the state of California and Texas is illegal. The only way that a giveaway like that you can re-roll the winner is if the winner refuses the prize. Now, with that, I actually went ahead and took notes. I took a lot of notes in regards to sweepstakes law, because this is actually very fascinating, especially when you consider how much giveaways are very commonplace, unlike, say, YouTube videos, Twitch streams, and whatnot. What is legally a giveaway? Well, in fact, try this. There is no legal definition for a giveaway. There are sweepstakes, contests, and lotteries. Based on, and this is just a general overlook on it, each state is slightly different how they define each. But from the source of Sweep P, which is a site that does sweepstakes for small content creators and big content creators, that fact, here is what you need to know. The legal definitions of these three words: a prize, which is the item that is being given away; chance, meaning who wins is based on a factor of random chance rather than anything skill based or anything that anyone can control; and consideration, which is a cost of some kind, usually money for entering. However, some states consider time invested or even just requiring the person to be there during the drawing also as considerations. The state of Michigan being the oddball case in this matter. All right. Now, if you have a prize and chance, it is a legal sweepstakes. In my own channel at twitch.tv/EagleFalcon, we do giveaways for Steam game codes somewhat regularly. And the other thing to consider here is that the chance must be perfectly random. Everyone has an equal chance in winning. On my sort of giveaways, everyone, moderator, subscriber, random lurker, person who came in at the last minute that never saw the stream before, everyone has an equal chance. That is key. Because once you start rigging that sort of thing, that's when you get into legal problems. And that then looks at what Artesian Builds is doing here and judging people based on metrics that can be considered consideration, because you are now considering the streamer who someone has wrote down in the chat, thankfully for me, thank you, Kia, and judging whether she can win based on her metrics. Someone in chat says, but I have a 0% chance to win. It's because every time you're drawn, you refuse the prize. Literally 100% of the times, every time this guy enters, every single time, and every single time he wins, he just refuses the prize. Like, all right, well, now I got to reroll. Now, to be clear in all of this, Artesian Builds did, after the PR firestorm, did offer to send Kia the PC anyway, which is what they should have done in the first place. But at that time, Kia did refuse the PC. Mostly because by that time, tech YouTuber Jay's 2 cents offered to send the PC, to send a much better PC, I will say. I'm jealous of that PC. He threw a 5950X in it. And then a 3080 to boot. I turned down the freaking whatever it was, i7 and 3060 there. I turned it down too. You got that kind of power on its way. Holy cow. But in any case, that is what pretty much everyone knows. Artesian Builds was condemned as being run by an absolute turd of a CEO, because it was the CEO who went ahead and put these rules in at the very last minute. And if any state really wanted to go ahead and go after some small fry like these builders that at the time we assumed was, you know, maybe a dozen people, you know, they could, but they're not going to get much out of it. So they're probably not going to face any legal repercussions whatsoever. That's what most people know. And then things get interesting because one day, all of the apologies, they put out 3 apologies, by the way, and none of them seemed even remotely genuine. All 3 apologies that were on the Artesian Builds Twitter page vanished. Gone. And it was instead replaced with, at this point, we are examining a potential employee-led buyout of the company. Thank you for your support. Now, I assumed at this point, when this came out, that this was their plan on just wiping their PR slate clean. And I think actually that's where we ended last week. Shortly after, we are sad to announce that effective now, we are freezing/suspending all activities. Ongoing is analysis by outside counsel for reorg to ensure fair treatment of clients, creditors, and employees. We expect more info by month's end. We are open to assistance/investment. One PR storm in the matter of a week does not bring you to freeze all activities. And I want to be clear, this is freezing all activities. Artesian Builds has publicly announced any sort of bills they have to pay, they are not going to pay it. That activity is frozen. Any PCs that are currently in the works of being built are not going to be completed. That activity is frozen. Any paychecks going to their employees is not going to be paid. Those activities are frozen. Their support lines not going to be answered at all. The company is effectively shutting down as they look at reorganization. This is not something that happens over the course of a week. And it turns out, thanks to Gamers Nexus, who stayed oddly silent while the PR storm was going on, even though Jay's 2 cents and Gamers Nexus, usually they're on top of this sort of stuff. Jay's 2 cents, of course, was on top of it and just helped the best way he could. And it turns out Gamers Nexus was trying to help the best they could. They offered Artesian Builds the chance to come on Gamers Nexus platform, which is, you know, huge. How many subs is Gamers Nexus at? Are they at 1 mil or 10 mil? I actually don't recall off the top of my head. But regardless, to then interview unedited and get out whatever Artesian Builds would like on how to try and repair the damage they did. They basically gave Artesian Builds the same kind of reset button they gave to Newegg. And Newegg, for the most part, did do some good with that same opportunity. I actually don't recall if we talked about it or not, but Newegg taking that kind of opportunity from Gamers Nexus ended up launching a program to go ahead and help right the wrongs that were put forward by just sending out defective parts and then refusing to fix them. Was it enough for Newegg? I'd say not, but it is a good first step. So to give a small builders like Artesian Builds the same opportunity is huge, and is exactly what Artesian Builds should have taken. But Artesian Builds refused. There's a couple other things that came out too. Artesian Builds is not located in California. They are located in California and South Carolina. They have 2 warehouses and they're on opposite ends of the coast. Nor are they as small as everyone assumed. Their outfit is, as far as we can tell, at least 50. I have a few reports that are saying north of 70. Now, and this gets even worse. Because, of course, for a company to just pretty much begin the process of declaring bankruptcy and shut down, something else is up. Well, as I mentioned before, or last week, they were behind on their state of California taxes, and their business license has been suspended in the state of California. In addition, multiple reports said that they were on COD basis with their suppliers. Normally, when you order supplies as a manufacturing business, you work on a basis of net 30 or net 60, meaning that you as the business have 30 to 60 days to pay the bill on those sort of supplies. When I ran Reforged Computers, I was on a net 30 basis. And I'll admit, there were times when I was starting off that it was really tight doing that. I would buy, an entire pallet worth of computers and then just figure I have 30 days to sell this so I can pay the bill that actually pays for them. These guys have been so bad with paying that net 30 on their supplies that they're on a COD basis with them, which makes it even more interesting that they're on a COD basis with Intel, but Intel still sponsors one of their streams. There was another report about Artesian Builds charging $500 for doing a glass etching, but instead just stick a decal on the window. Some internal documents mentioned management asking employees for loans and offering equity into the company, and then also forcing employees to take a salary, which could be pretty illegal in the state of California, possibly also illegal in the state of South Carolina. Not too clear on the labor laws in those areas. Not a lawyer. By the way, I should also clarify, in case it wasn't obvious earlier, I am merely reporting on what I have learned. None of what I say can or should be considered legal advice or financial advice, for that fact. I am a talk show host and a tech enthusiast. Just figured it, I'm pretty sure I said it earlier. If I haven't, I've said it now again. So we got that wonderful thing going on. An internal whistleblower within Artesian Builds says that the West Coast builds, these are the builds that were done in California, would be sent to the East Coast location for quality control checks because the West Coast build was so terribly managed that they just couldn't catch up at all. Oh, And here's what's even better. In addition to selling computers, like a lot of brands trying to make their brand a brand, they also sell stickers. It's not uncommon. But the stickers are usually of your own intellectual property. Their stickers include Star Wars, Invader Zim, Tesla, Nvidia, and the logos of other streamers. How? How do you go ahead and build PCs on Twitch and be this oblivious to copyright? I just can't even. It is absolutely insane. There is also some internal whistleblowers that unfortunately cannot be confirmed if this is true, but there are some accusations of follows on both Twitch and Twitter being bought, view bots for the stream being bought as well. The CEO would actually live in an apartment that is above the building facility in the California section, but would not waltz into work until roughly 3 in the afternoon, according to other whistleblowers. Here's what I will say about him, about this CEO. When I took over the place where I work, I always had this weird feeling because, of course, I was just a truck driver, right? It's what I did. I drove trucks. Some were medium-sized, other were small-sized, but that was it. I just drove and did deliveries. For someone like me to take over the company and be effectively the CEO, even though our company doesn't have a CEO, it felt like a little bit of like imposter syndrome, you know? I, at least in the grand scheme of this, can look back at the way I've run the company so far, and I've missed some deadlines here and there. I've made a few mess ups here and there. But holy cow, I can at least look at Artesian Builds and say, you know, at least I haven't been as bad as this guy. Holy cow. It is actually stunning how business illiterate, if all these reports are correct, I should stress that. If all of these whistleblowers and reports are correct, it is stunning. Absolutely, completely, and utterly stunning how mismanaged this company was. And there is one bit of advice this guy should have taken a year ago. Delegate. Just delegate. Focus on what the company does and put your best people in charge of it. So, where does that bring Artesian Builds? The accounts are frozen. No activity is being done. Any PC build that's currently in the works, almost certainly any customer of theirs that hasn't got their computer yet is most likely running as fast as they can, if they haven't already, to their bank to issue a chargeback, which is the only logical course of action you can take at this point. And all of your employees are effectively laid off. So this is it, right? The company's dead. No one's gonna want to touch this absolutely radioactive company. No one's gonna want to invest in this. No one's gonna take over, right? That's what I said last week's episode. This week, however, the situation has changed. It is possible to save this company, but action has to be taken immediately. Because first off, your current employees are now looking for new jobs. They have to, especially with the cost of living pretty much increasing daily. The cost of living is going up every single day. The price of fuel is going up, which in turn is going to increase the cost of literally everything else. That is the current situation you have in this world. But you have a company with 2 locations, skilled staff that you're possibly about to lose. But one important thing. Remember how I said that they had a request from Gamers Nexus to be interviewed? That is how this company gets saved. The current CEO, I can't remember what his name is, Noah or something like that. It doesn't matter. There is no way he is going to exist in this company at all. All right? Most likely that's going to be it. So, you buy off the douche lord. You take the interview offer. Someone in chat said Gamers Nexus has already put out they won't do an interview at this point. Gamers Nexus said in their video, I don't know if they said anything else additionally at this point, but their statement was they will, because of the way this CEO is behaving, they refuse to do an interview with him. And that is the key word. So, with the current CEO gone, it is possible, big possible, not a guarantee, but it's possible they can come back from this. What is going to be left of the company, if they can make a recovery, is unknown. Either way, we're going to find out one of 2 things. Well, here's the first thing. They said, we hope to know more by the end of the month. if the next bit of news we hear from Artesian Builds is at the end of the month, there's nothing left. Any talent they had is gone. Poof. Ceases to exist. That's it. The end. You're done. There's no one left at that point. At that point, you're just declaring bankruptcy and selling off the assets, which are going to be bought up in an instant, which is then going to go to pay your debts. If something is going to go ahead and save this company and take advantage of the PR storm that's currently around them to try and stage a comeback, it has to happen early next week. That is currently my evaluation of this, especially since this story is refusing to go away. It would be one thing if this was a one and done, like it looked like it was going to be last week. But because this story has staying power in the news cycle, it's possible for this company to come back. Although, very unlikely. We're going to take our first break here. When we come back, Ubisoft has been hacked. Yay.